Welcome to Biohacking with Brittany. Thank you for tuning in this week to a new episode. I am your host, Brittany Ford, and I am a registered holistic nutritionist and biohacker and podcaster and all of the good things like that. I want to do a shout out. I'm trying to do this new feature every week where I do a DM of the week, and I'm going to read this one because it actually just came in today on Instagram. And this woman, sometimes it's just nice to get such positive feedback. And like I've said before last week when I was talking about doing DMs of the week, I think it's just much more personal and interesting to hear about other people's discussions versus a boring 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. So this woman wrote, she wrote it last night. Okay. So she says, I finally got to listen to your first trimester podcast episode, and it was just what I needed. I'm in my first and couldn't have related more to your story, symptoms, nutrition struggles. And that was the first time I felt okay and accepted about what I was going through. Thank you for the great words and being so uplifting as always. Flower emoji. Thank you so much for that. Such a cute, small little message. And if you don't know what she's talking about, I released a podcast episode a few weeks ago about my experience as a health enthusiast and biohacker going through my first trimester because I am pregnant and I'm currently in my third trimester, but I recorded episodes during my first and second that were relevant to what I was going through at the time. I haven't released the second trimester one yet, but I will. And so the first trimester one was the hardest one to record because that was easily the hardest trimester. And in that recording, like I said in the intro, I did not re-listen to the episode because it was too soon, too soon for me to think back to how I felt during that time. And I'm just glad that I took the time to record that and give you honest feedback on what it actually feels like to be pregnant and, not necessarily the typical, oh, everything's great. I'm glowing. It's so easy. I'm so excited to bring life into this world. Obviously, there's the element of that, but it was important for me to share, from a health standpoint, how much of a toll it takes on your body very quickly. And so I'm glad that I did that. And I'm glad that it resonates with you. That means so much to me. And that's kind of why I do this. So go back and listen to that episode if you want to hear what I have to say. If you have any questions about it, obviously feel free to message me. I will respond to you and we can chat. And a shout out to the new members of my Baby Steps program who enrolled or signed up last week. So I developed a preconception program that is a 7-week online course. And it includes my 90-day protocol. And this is everything that you and your partner, if applicable, need in order to optimize your preconception health and fertility before you start trying to conceive. So it's always exciting when I see new people sign up. You get the content dripped to you once a week for 7 weeks, but you get access to the protocol right away. So if you're kind of like me and you're like, okay, I want to start this protocol. What are the habits I have to do every single day for 90 days? Let me dive right in. You get access right away. There's no gatekeeping. I want you to be, healthy. So you have access and I hope that you share that with people. We are almost done the final touches on it. And then I'm going to be able to really start adding more content and also just working on my website and all the software things behind it as it kind of goes. So and welcome all of the new members. And you can find it on my website, biohackingbrittany.com. It is up there right now. And I actually have a few consultations this week with some of the members because I have a promo right now that if you enroll, you get a consultation with me as well. Now, that is going to be a very short-lived promo. It's ending at the end of this month because I'm obviously in my third trimester and there's only so much time that I have right now before baby comes. So if you want to hang out for an hour and ask me your personal fertility preconception health questions, that is really what I would recommend you do. So enjoy that and definitely take a look at that. Send it to people, whoever you think would be, who that could help. And a shout out to the sponsors of this week, Mimeo. I love seeing how many of you are interested in Mimeo. Mimeo is a great stack of 4 different ingredients that really boost longevity, anti-aging, and cellular health. So they basically took these ingredients that you find in yourself, and they're called biomimetic ingredients. And they mimic the effects of a 36-hour fast in the body. So you actually don't need to do the 36-hour fast. Instead, you can get the benefits in this way and by taking this supplement every single day. So I have it. I have quite a lot of it. I really recommend it. I'm going to get my mom to actually start doing it as well because I think she could use it. And yeah, definitely check that out. I linked in my show notes, and discount code is biohackingbrittany if you're interested. And last but not least, Bioptimizers. They have this really interesting mushroom chocolate powder that came out that I've recently been dabbling with. My husband uses it a lot. And essentially, it has a ton of different types of mushrooms in it that really support your cognitive health throughout the day. So you can add it to a smoothie. You could add it to like straight water if you wanted to, or like yogurt, anything like that. And essentially what it does is it supports your cognition, your brain health. And I think that is so, so important. So try that out. Check that out. They have really cool flavors, which I like about it. So there's chocolate, chai, and then there's one other one that I'm forgetting. Oh my gosh, what is it? I'm just trying to think of it right now. Those are the ones that I've seen and I've tried. Oh, caramel. I think it's like salted caramel is the third one. Yeah. So definitely look at those if you're looking for something to kind of like, support your brain health in that way. Bioptimizers, Biohacking Brittany in capitals is the discount code. And this week we are getting into intimacy a bit. So I am interviewing a very renowned doctor and someone in the space where he had this really, really phenomenal career and it took off and, he ended up leaving and he was done. And then he decided he actually wanted to create a line of products that he thought would support brain health and men and women's intimacy and energy and mood and stress and virality and clarity and things like that. So we get into that. That's really exciting. And I learned a lot in this episode, as I do in most episodes. But yeah, it's Dr. Robert R. Beltran, and he founded Recomnd, which I think is a really, really cool brand. And yeah, I think they're making waves. And it's interesting when we start talking about men's libido and women's libido. It's not something that I've explored a lot necessarily, but we talk about a lot of different like herbs and vitamins and minerals and things that actually can support both of these. And he has some great, client testimonials that he talks about how men will start taking his Man Plus formula and be surprised that they can feel like that. Like be surprised that they have the level of intimacy at whatever age that they're at. And my husband has actually used this formula and he has noticed effects, which I talk about on the show, and loves it. And he's also used their Clear Focus product, which is really focused on your mood and having a clear mind as well. Mind you, they do have the lady formula, same thing, all about intimacy, all about mood, stress, things like that. So if you're someone who's kind of looking for that boost in that realm of your health and your life right now, as a lot of people are, these are definitely the ingredients or things that I would look for above and beyond, just lifestyle hacks and having your nutrition on point. So I think you're going to get a lot out of this episode. Enjoy it. I will catch you on Friday for another one. We produce episodes every Tuesday and Friday over here. And if you aren't already, follow me on Instagram at biohackingbrittany and TikTok at biohacking. And thank you for listening. And I hope you learn a lot from it, just like I did. Welcome to Biohacking with Brittany. I am so excited that you are listening to today's episode. This one is going to be very interesting as we are diving into all things supplements, dietary supplements, and specifically looking at things like sexual wellness and cognitive function within the dietary supplement space, which is very specific and a couple of topics that I am actually very interested in and don't necessarily know a lot about myself. We are spotlighting Recomnd, and this is founded by the renowned Dr. Robert Beltran, who is joining me today, who really blends ancient wisdom with modern science to help enhance these different areas. So, Dr. Robert, welcome to the show.
I am so thankful, so appreciative, and just thankful for being here. I'm really thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you joining us. So I would love for you to kind of take us back a little bit before you started this new line of supplements. What were you kind of doing in the medical space, and why did you think something like this was even necessary in the first place?
Well, I have an extensive science background. I have doctorate degrees in pharmacy and medicine from the University of California at San Francisco. And then I did a 5-year surgical residency at the Los Angeles County USC, University of Southern California Medical Center. Being a surgeon is pretty interesting because it's very rigorous. Being a surgical resident is vigorous. Practicing surgery is a very rigorous situation. And you don't really utilize your mind, your intelligence, your learning as much as you otherwise might if you were in a different specialty in medicine. So I did very well. I was very successful. I did that for 31 and a half years. And that's kind of what my background is leading up to where I'm at now.
Right. And so from that extensive, background that you have, why did you make the shift to start a new line of supplements? Like what was the reasoning there?
That's a great question. I must have been asked through my life after I obtained my 2 doctorate degrees by so many people, including professors at the various places that I went to school and trained, when are you going to utilize your 2 doctorate degrees? And I never really thought about it. I said, hey, I chose to be a surgeon. That was my calling in life. I had a great career. I enjoyed it. And then in late 2011, I had an accident with multiple traumas. And I ended up having 5 major surgeries and 3 minor surgeries in a 14-month period. Initially, I thought I was going to go back and practice because I was still a relatively young guy. I was 58 and a half years old at that time. But it just wasn't to be. What I thought might be a 4 to 6 month recovery turned into a greater than 2-year recovery. In the process, I became addicted to OxyContin because of all the pain and surgeries I went through. And when I withdrew from that, I found myself in a very dark depression, very dark place. I lost all my motivation, determination, self-sufficiency, and get up and do it, which is something that I has always possessed in my life. I was very self-motivated. And it was very disappointing and very scary to find myself in this place. A colleague of mine with expertise in Chinese medicine knew exactly how serious this situation was for me to find myself in a situation where I no longer was a practicing surgeon. And he understood, I think, that I needed something to really get me going again. He recommended a packet of Chinese herbs at a specific market in Irvine. And I was hesitant initially. I said, this is totally against everything I've ever learned in terms of Western medicine. And so it took me a few weeks, but eventually I was so desperate, I went ahead and purchased them and started taking them. Within 3 weeks, the change I noticed was beyond dramatic. All my mental and physical energy had returned. My mental clarity and focus were at an all-time high, and I had this sense of well-being. And I was just so excited and so encouraged. And then about 3 to 4 weeks later, I started noticing that the benefits during intimacy were significantly and dramatically improved. And that really stimulated and motivated me to start studying, researching herbal ingredients and herbal formulations and making iterative changes in terms of the ingredients and dosages and recording everything that I was noticing in a very scientific and clinical manner so that I had a good idea of what, over time, of what a lot of these herbal ingredients, what they were capable of, the benefits they provided from a clinical and medical standpoint. And it became a passion. I mean, I have never been this passionate about anything in my life. And I'd like to think, looking at my background, I've done some pretty exciting things. But this became the most passionate I've ever been about anything. And the energy, the motivation, the determination, the work I put into this has been amazing and fun and exciting.
Yeah, I love that. And you can definitely hear when you're speaking about it how passionate you really are about it. And it's also very personal to you, right? Like these different ingredients really helped you heal and recover. And now you get to turn around and help other people do the same with the ingredients, which I think is very powerful in itself.
Brittany, I'm a totally different man. I grew up, I grew up with a lot of obstacles, and I always had a certain amount of anxiety, fear of failure, regardless of how successful I became. I always had those very concerning attributes that I had to deal with. And I think that's why I went so deep into this dark depression, because I wasn't mentally or emotionally prepared to deal with this type of situation. But I tell you now, I have very little, if any, anxiety. The fears I have are, just those that concern the ones you love. Otherwise, I just feel so positive. I have a tremendous amount of positive energy now and motivation. I feel like I've helped myself, and now it's time for me to really help others achieve what I know they're capable of. I just feel like through trial and error and through a lot of hard work and bringing others into the equation, I feel like we really have created something very special here that can help a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So when you were first looking at like creating these supplements and, the different formulations, and I know you have 3 different ones and we're going to get into that, but something that you talk about on your website, which I find very interesting, is that you talk about blending like ancient remedies with modern science and your formulations. So how does like that? Yeah.
Our tagline is nature's ingredients, science optimized. And what that says is it symbolizes our commitment at Recomnd Nutrition to blending nature's treasures with scientific precision. And as CEO and chief formulator, I lead with a vision of holistic wellness, where each product embodies the perfect harmony of natural potency and with modern science. And with meticulous research and innovation, we deliver excellence in every bottle, empowering individuals on their path, not only to vibrant health, but well-being. And yeah, I'm just really excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And makes a lot of sense. So was the first product you developed, was that the cognitive one, the clear focus product, or which one did you do?
I'm glad you asked that question. No, it was actually a one-size-fits-all solution. I was going to take the market in, I forget, it was 2021, 2022. This one formulation that we had that I knew gave a lot of brain power, cognitive improvement, as I said earlier, improved focus, improved clarity, provided a sense of well-being, and at the same time provided these tremendous, surprising, tremendous, dramatic improvements in the benefits from sexual intimacy. And so I was going to take that to the market, and our CFO in one of our meetings raised a very valid concern. He felt there was a good chance that the public was going to be confused and really not know exactly what the specific benefits were, categories of benefits as it pertains to clinical medical benefits. And I agreed with them. I said, I think you're right. We've got to isolate the ones that are going to specifically improve brain power and cognition, and those that are more geared toward enhancing the benefits during intimacy. And because of this, the background I have and the amount of time I took to study these issues, it really wasn't that difficult for me. I was able to create a matrix in my mind, if you will, of which products I thought would complement one another and synergize with one another to optimize brain power and cognition, and then also the same mindset, if you will, when it came to optimizing the benefits during intimacy. And we did that. And we're very, very happy and satisfied after the clinical trials that we were spot on in terms of combining the ingredients. And you have to keep in mind, it's not just herbal ingredients, but our products also have a vast array of vitamins, necessary and pertinent amino acids, along with the specific herbal entities.
Let's talk about Mimeo, a breakthrough longevity supplement that hacks your biology to help you look and feel younger. It was created by PhDs in nutrition from over 7 years of clinical research, and Mimeo was designed to mimic the longevity benefits of fasting in a simple daily pill. Not only has Mimeo been shown to extend lifespan in animals by 96%, but users have been able to take as much as 2.5 years off their biological age in just 8 weeks. How? Mimeo's groundbreaking biomimetic formula uses a patented blend of all natural metabolites that work together to help your cellular health from the inside out. First, there's OEA, which is a metabolic supercharger clinically proven to help control appetite and promote fat metabolism, so you can crush those cravings and silence food noise throughout the day. Then there's spermidine, the cellular autophagy activator, helping clear out cellular junk to boost cognition, clear brain fog, and refresh your cells. Next, there's nicotinamide, a broad-spectrum NAD+ booster that's been shown to improve everything from metabolism to skin glow to immune health. And lastly, there's PEA, one of the body's most powerful rest and repair molecules that helps control inflammation, relieve discomfort, and enhance recovery so you can get that youthful energy back. Mimeo is designed to work like a super fast, super efficient fasting diet, but without actually having to fast. It's all about tapping into the power of your own biology, giving your body the cheat code to work its best, making you feel younger and healthier today. You can try Mimeo today. Use my discount code at checkout, which is biohackingbrittany, and you can get all of these benefits in a simple supplement today. Again, that's biohackingbrittany in all capitals. So definitely try it and let me know what you think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad that you did that. I'm glad that you separated it into different products, because exactly like you said, like it would be confusing for the average consumer to understand what this does. And it's so much easier if you take one thing and you're like, this is helping this one thing, right? You kind of like isolate the areas or the symptoms. And I think that's really smart. When it comes to just like your clear focus product, what are the symptoms or issues around mental health and brain functioning that you're really seeing pop up? Like, is it lack of focus? Is it, struggling to get things done during the day? Like what is it that people are experiencing?
Well, I think you're well aware, and I think everybody who probably is listening is well aware that mental emotional health disease are a tremendous problem for this country, this world. And there's just way too many people walking around who have way too much anxiety, depression. And I feel that all the anger and hate that we're seeing is also a manifestation of mental and emotional health disease. There's no doubt in my mind that a holistic approach utilizing exercise, especially vigorous exercise, daily meditation, and I'm talking about exercise. If you can't do it daily, do it a minimum of 5 times a week. Meditation daily, and then the use of a product like ours is going to go a long, long way in terms of alleviating anxiety, depression, and all the negative thoughts that go along with contributing to all the hate and anger that we're seeing in this world. I've gotten some rave reviews from the people who have taken our product. It is really stimulating the brain and uplifting the brain in a manner that I think it can make a significant difference in this world. And I have a real concern about antidepressants, sedatives, prescribed sleep aids, and of course, narcotics. I won't even mention narcotics because I think the problem about narcotics speaks for itself, and everyone knows the dangers and the horrific contributions to society and disasters everywhere that are resulting from narcotic use. But having said that, all of these medications that I mentioned cause some degree of brain sedation. They cause some degree of altered motivation, impaired cognition, and altered personality. I have never seen anyone that's taken these medications that I literally could not spot out in a crowd. They're these things just stand out, especially the lack of motivation and the altered personality and things of that sort. And I just wonder why people would want to subject themselves to a medication that has these side effects. And not only that, has the potential for addiction and death when there are other and much better treatment plans available now.
Yeah. Do you think it's just a lack of awareness or education, or why do you think people are more hesitant to try, maybe more natural products?
Well, I mean, if your doctor is saying, when you go in and say, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I can't sleep, and they give you a prescription, instead of saying, hey, we're going to put you on a regimen where you exercise every day, you meditate, and you take an herbal formulation that isn't going to cause you any significant side effects, isn't going to cause addiction, isn't going to depress your brain, isn't going to depress your energy. What's happened is that, and I know because I was in the medical profession as a practicing clinician for 31 and a half years, we get overworked, we get tired, we get lazy, we don't read up like we did when we were in medical school and in training. And we start depending on other sources, biased sources of information to treat our patients. And there's a big conflict there, I feel, at this time between the pharmaceutical industry and the medical community. There's way too much money from the pharmaceutical community going into medicine in the form of supporting research, providing directorships, and other forms of financial support when there's campaigns to raise money and whatnot. And then, of course, the same situation exists with our Congress, where many of these congressmen, they are receiving various forms of income from pharmaceutical entities. And what this does is this causes a very compromised and biased mindset. So who's the loser in all this? The public is. The public's the loser. And we're left in a situation where we're treating mental and emotional health disease, sleep disorders in a very archaic manner that's probably at best a 50-50 proposition. Yeah, when I say that, what I'm doing is I'm comparing the benefits to the side effects and whatnot.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And it's hard, I think, for the average person to walk into a doctor's office and say, no, I'm actually not going to follow your recommendation. I'm going to do something myself and research and take the time and the effort in order to find something else that works. And it's getting better. I would argue that more and more people are doing it, but I'm not sure that we're at the point where it's the mainstream thing to do in Western culture yet.
Yeah, I don't know how many years I have left in this earth. I certainly have a lot of energy left, but you just never know. But I am so excited about this that I'm going to do everything I can to raise awareness to the benefits of a holistic approach to emotional and mental health disease and other disorders that emanate from that, as opposed to people taking prescribed medications that have so many side effects and potential for disaster.
Yeah, I agree with that. So do you take Clear Focus every single day then?
I've taken Clear Focus, but I focus primarily on the Man Plus product. It's kind of my baby, if you will. It's the one I know the best. I know the benefits are just so good. I like I said, I am nowhere close to the same person I was 10, 20, 30 years ago. I'm just a whole different person, and everybody around me has kind of noticed that.
Yeah. So let's dive into it. I love this formula. It's your Man Plus formula. I've given it to my husband and he's been taking it for, I don't know how many months or how many weeks now. And he has noted a, change in his intimacy. So he's 31 for reference and he has, I don't even know how to say this politically correctly, but he wakes up more excited every morning, I guess I could say, than he kind of previously noted. And he has a very stressful job. And so it's very interesting for him to notice and be like, wow, I'm waking up with more morning erections than I usually have been in the last year or so because of the stress from my job. And it's because he started your formula. So I have definitely seen the benefits already personally in my life.
So your husband is 31. We have men in the 30s, the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that are taking this. And pretty much what I'm hearing from all of them is, I didn't realize that my sex life could be this good, this fulfilling. And I'm hearing that from everybody. So I know we've created something very special here.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, when we're looking at this product, like what are the challenges that men are facing today in terms of, their intimacy? What do you hear from these men?
Well, intimacy is so important in our lives. A healthy and regular intimacy with your wife, your girlfriend, your significant other is so important towards propagating and maintaining physical, emotional, and spiritual health. There's been numerous studies. That's not my claim. There's been numerous studies that have acknowledged that and documented that. So I know for a fact we're doing something very good for mankind. Excuse the pun, excuse the association, but I know that everyone I've talked to, they just sound and they say that they're healthier physically, emotionally, and spiritually because of the improvement in their intimate lives.
Yeah. And is that improvement measured by things like, how they are intimate with their partners or, morning erections, things like that? Like, is it the libido that we're talking about here?
Let me walk you through this, and I want your public and yourself to keep in mind, I'm a scientist and I'm a medical clinician. So I have a responsibility to share my research, my knowledge, my findings with the public as per my Hippocratic oath. What we started noticing initially, and initially it was me, and then I got a small group of guys that were good enough, supported me enough, believed in me enough that they were willing to take the plunge with me. And initially what was noticed was that the intensity and duration of the male climax was just kept improving and improving and improving to a point where guys said, wow, I didn't even know this was possible. And then as men continued to take this product without changing any of the ingredients or dosages, just maintaining and taking it as a daily supplement, they started noticing more dramatic things that I couldn't find in the medical literature, the lay public literature, or competitive literature. And that being that guys were starting to have multiple male climaxes without having a refractory period. And so when that started happening, I really knew we were onto something special. I didn't anticipate this. I had no way of knowing or anticipating this. And that's why when people ask me about these products, I say, yeah, it's amazing and profound and revolutionary because it's doing things for men that I've never seen described before. And I've researched this like crazy to try to find out if there's other methods, other supplements, other, anabolic steroids and Cialis and Viagra don't even do this for men. So, and our product's safe and effective. So, yeah, I like where we're at with this. I really do, Brittany.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So what are some of the key natural ingredients in the formula that really contribute to this boost in energy or boost in libido?
What we have is Tomcat Ali, which was actually the last agent added, the ginseng, Korean red ginseng, maca root, Tribulus terrestris, Butea superba. Let's see, am I missing anything? But there's quite a few more. It has L-arginine, L-citrulline, L-lysine, and yeah, that's kind of a baseline of the products that we have in our formulation.
Yeah. And then you also have the vitamin E and the zinc in there as well.
Yeah, we have every vitamin E. We have folic acid, vitamin C, I believe. So, most of the vitamins and pertinent amino acids that you need are included in our formulation. And amino acids are building blocks for protein. So they're very, very important in terms of our physiology and how our physiology functions.
No, that makes sense. And I'm just like, I'm happy to see a formula on the market that can really support this, because I think this is something that a lot of men are struggling with that might not know where to turn. And like you said, like they actually might not know that they can enhance this and feel better. And maybe they don't feel comfortable going to the doctor and talking about this. And instead they just kind of deal with it or suffer or just kind of bury it,
Well, they don't need to. They can go to our website, and there's a lot of websites. Our website's very professional, by the way. We're not one of those entities that are showing all these scantily clad people and using all these references that kind of are titillating and whatnot. We're very professional in our approach. We want to educate the public. We want to motivate the public. And we want to let the public know that these products are safe and unbelievably effective. One thing we've learned, Brittany, is that we want our product to be taken daily as a daily supplement. And as I think I told you earlier, what we've noticed is that despite not changing the dosages or ingredients, not only do the benefits continue to maintain, they actually get better over time. And that is pretty remarkable. And I'm pretty sure I know why that occurs. The microcirculation throughout the body is just ongoing improvement because of these ingredients that we've utilized. Neural tissue is restored and regenerated. Old and damaged neural tissue is restored. There's a tremendous amount of promise with a lot of these ingredients as it pertains to neurodegenerative disorders. And then last but not least, we know for a fact that the brain neurotransmitters are restored and replenished in a healthy, optimal, and physiological manner. And that's in contrast to a lot of medical treatments, especially antidepressants and sedatives, which are made to control the neurotransmitter functionality in the brain, which for me, as a clinician and scientist, just doesn't make any sense. We should be allowing the brain to restore and replenish brain neurotransmitters on its own, not controlling that functionality for the brain.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense when you outline it like that. And that's why it is important to take it every single day so that it builds that almost like reserve of it or ability to tap back into that functionality again.
That's true. Everything you said there was spot on.
Yeah. And so then you created your complementary women's formula to that. So is this kind of designed off of that and just with this same idea of like, okay, what do women need in order to support their libido and energy? And is it different from the men's formula? Like how different is it? Like, so how did you kind of shift into making that female formula?
Yeah, well, our Lady Plus formulation and our Clear Focus formulations stand out because they do include pre and probiotics, which are strategically chosen to enhance digestion and support gut health. And in the process, this cultivates an optimal gut-brain axis, which facilitates neurotransmitter replenishment and also bolsters immunity. So it has that. And the lady formulation also has black cohosh, which is known to stimulate lubrication. Turmeric for inflammation and pain management. I can't tell you the feedback I've gotten from ladies who had an achy shoulder, an achy hand or wrist, an achy knee, an aching hip, who said, my achiness has either resolved or it's gone complete. It's improved or it's resolved. It's gone when I'm taking your product. And that's because of the turmeric. Turmeric is an excellent natural anti-inflammatory and pain management agent. And so that's in the formulation. And then the rest of the formulations kind of mirrored the male, except the dosages were decreased to 1/2 to 1/3 to accommodate the difference in weight and size, our body mass, basically.
Do you have trouble recalling names, dates, or where you left things? I definitely have experienced this. Wouldn't it be nice to feel clear-minded and energized all of the time? I know you want this, and I definitely want this as well. Bioptimizers has created a one-of-a-kind product called Mushroom Breakthrough that can supercharge your brain power. It's packed with highly concentrated mushroom extracts that science shows enhance memory, focus, processing speed, and more. Just one serving contains 5 potent superfoods like collagen and 1.2 pounds of 4 concentrated mushrooms, including lion's mane, reishi, cordyceps, and chaga. This cutting edge blend is a powerful way to rebuild your brain and rewire it for maximum energy, focus, and performance in less than 30 days. After each serving of Mushroom Breakthrough, your ability to memorize and recall information will improve, and you'll get a hefty dose of antioxidants for immune support. On top of these incredible benefits, it's also delicious. It tastes like a rich chocolate elixir. Sip our smooth, delicious drink daily and notice your thinking gets crisp fast. Simply mix it with water or milk and enjoy. Or for a more potent blend, you can mix it with your morning coffee to transform it into a delicious mood-boosting mocha. Don't miss out on the brain-boosting power of this amazing new product. For an exclusive offer for my listeners only, you can go to bioptimizers.com/biohackingbrittany and use code biohackingbrittany at checkout. The great thing about Bioptimizers is that you can try it risk-free and you can use their 365-day money-back guarantee. So head over to bioptimizers.com/biohackingbrittany. Try it now to sharpen your edge and reach your potential. I actually think I'm going to go make a cup right after this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like you said, turmeric is a great anti-inflammatory. I take it. I recommend it to a lot of people. So I'm happy to see that in there as well. Do you get a lot of women maybe in the perimenopause or menopause state who take your formula and notice a difference? Because that's such a time of like intense hormonal changes and libido can really, really plummet during that time. So, do you have any stories of women who've taken it during that time?
We know for a fact that it definitely helps with pre and perimenopausal symptoms. So we have gotten feedback in that regard. All the ladies that have taken this have said, my libido is definitely improved. My libido was stagnant. My libido was non-existent. It is now something that I think about and I'm excited about. So I can definitely say that with total honesty and conviction.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, I mean, ideally, you have a couple, and they're, if there's a woman and a man, the woman is taking the lady plus, and the man is taking the man plus, and then they just have a great intimacy and intimate life.
Well, like I said earlier, this is so important because if you have a healthy and regular intimacy between partners, the man or woman, it's just so healthy for you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So we're real excited about that. That really motivates us to keep improving and getting better and better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving forward, like looking at this year and maybe next year, what do you have that's coming down the pipeline, and where do you want to kind of shift Recomnd to go?
Well, we have these 3 ingredients that we're launching here in a few weeks, and we're real excited because our clinical trials have shown that all the participants expressed immense satisfaction and excitement regarding both the tolerability and the observed benefits of our products. And having said that, we want to see, how these are received by the public. But we already have formulations for weight management that we feel are extremely healthy and without side effects, as opposed to agents like Ozempic, which can cause massive dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, pancreatitis, medullary thyroid carcinoma. These are really really nasty side effects. And I know for a fact that a lot of people have died from the dehydration and the electrolyte imbalances associated with these kind of products. So we're excited about bringing our weight management product to the marketplace at the appropriate time. We also have a formulation already for pain management and inflammation control. And we're also in a deep dive doing all the necessary research to find the right combination of ingredients to create a safe and effective sleep aid that will not have any significant complications or potential for death.
I love that. Yeah. I'm excited to see those products come out. I think that's very interesting, the different markets that you're tapping into. I mean, those are big, 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 big markets, as you know, and there are a lot of products out there already. And so it can be very difficult to differentiate yourself and say, hey, look, like we combine all of this science and this ancient medicine in order to create something that actually works. And I'm excited to see to see your products in those spaces.
Yeah, I'm not pounding my chest, but it's important for the public to know that I do, as I said earlier, I think with my background, the extensive science background that I have, the doctorate degrees in pharmacy and medicine, it gives me a very unique vision and understanding of what these ingredients are capable of, especially in terms of creating something that's safe and extremely effective, where people notice discernible benefits.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Do you have any advice for someone listening who is maybe new to supplementation in general and they don't know what to look for, or, you know, they go to the store and there's so many to choose from? Like, where do you recommend someone even start when they're like that?
That's a great question. And I'm going to tell you why. We did a lot of research and we found that, and this is kind of a uniform consideration, 50% of the products out there really don't have any significant benefits. And any benefits they might have are pretty minuscule at best. Then 25% of the agents out there, especially ones that come from Europe and Asia, are tainted, especially when it comes to male enhancement. They're tainted with 5-phosphodiesterase inhibitors, or they're tainted with anabolic steroid precursors or anabolic steroids. And those are dangerous. You know, the people who think taking steroids are safe are fooling themselves. They're extremely dangerous over time. And there's a good chance they're going to shorten your lifespan. So people have to be considerate of these concerns. So basically, 25% of the products out there are safe and effective. And so people have to do their homework and research and look at the background of the entities that are bringing these products to the market.
I agree with that. And honestly, it's really frustrating even when I hear that like 50% of these products aren't that great or don't have any benefit. Because even as someone like myself who reads every single label and is so particular about what I use, like, why do these brands put these these products onto the market? Like, it's just false advertising. And I just feel like it's just garbage and they're just trying to sell garbage. Like, how can they even get away with that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's garbage. A lot of it is garbage. You know, a lot of them just have one or two ingredients. I don't know if you noticed ours, but we have ours either approach or over 20 ingredients. And that's not by accident. I looked for, in my research, in my study, in my iterative changes to the ingredients and the formulations, I looked for ingredients that were complementary with one another and ingredients that were synergistic with one another. And that's why I think we have products that have such discernible and dramatic benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're very holistic and well rounded, and they're very well researched, which matters and is so, so important. So if anyone is listening to this and they're like, okay, I want to increase my, you know, energy, libido, or intimacy, like whatever it is, or even with clear focus, and they want to feel better mentally and with brain functioning, how can they reach out to you and how can they try your products?
Well, we have a website, www.recommnd.com. And we've taken unusual approach to recommend. We spell it RECOMND. And that's because we want people to know that we're using a novel and a forward-thinking approach to what it is we're doing.
So yeah, so they can go, and I will put that in the show notes for sure, and link that on my website.
Yeah, and I recommend people go to our website, not only if they're interested in taking our product, but just to educate themselves as it pertains to emotional mental health disorders and issues pertaining to optimizing and enhancing intimacy.
Exactly. And I will link your social accounts as well, so people can follow you and connect with you there as well.
Well, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was great. I really enjoyed this discussion, and I'm super excited about your formulas, and I can't wait for people to hear this.
Yeah, we're beyond excited. As I said, this is a passion. This has become a passion for me, and I really am looking forward to helping all the people out there that have emotional mental health disorders. That's kind of how we started with this. We started a foundation that was based what we called Holistic Healing for Heroes. We really wanted to help the veterans that we run across in the streets, served our country, gave their best years to our country, and now they've been sort of left on their own, unattended to. And this really was very emotional to me to see how many people are out in the street because of traumas that they've suffered in their life. And of course, it goes way beyond that now. Now we know so much more about mental and emotional health disorders and how that's leading to this epidemic of addiction. And yeah, I think somebody like myself that has my unique background, that's passionate about what it is he's doing, I'm going to do everything I can to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. And I'm just hopeful that we can impact as many lives as possible in a positive manner.
Yeah. Oh, well, like we love that, and thank you for doing that. It's your work definitely goes noticed and is recognized and is really needed, as you can tell and feel. And I'm just so happy and grateful that you were able to come on, educate my listeners so that we can learn more about this, and then they can help other people as well.
Yes, absolutely. It takes a village, right?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it really does.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. If you're interested in finding the show notes or the sponsors for this episode, you can do so on my website, which is biohackingbrittany.com. Remember to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active. My handle is @biohackingbrittany. And if you're interested in working together and you want to email me directly, you can do that. My email is info@biohackingbrittany.com. And I look forward to hearing from you and having you tune in next week.